All right, thanks for joining, everybody. Today we're still trying to get into chapter 1 or 2 of the book that I wrote back in 2016, but we're gonna jump into 2 Thessalonians before we do that, and then we'll kind of bounce around a little bit to get a few things ironed out so that people understand better what the methodology is. And we're also going to, on the YouTube, we're going to go back to one of our previous handles by the name of Born Again Israel. So it's going to make it a whole lot simpler, a whole lot easier. Born Again Israel. This is the meat and potatoes, the nuts and the bolts, sorry to mix metaphors, of what we're talking about. So let's go, but before we do that, let's go into, if you go to the Born Again Israel, this is what you're going to see. You see that? It's got a graphic there of one individual standing up against the hordes of the masses that are on the other side of reality, basically. And they don't want to come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, so they're going to try to circumvent their own reality, to be their own God, to try to create God in their image. And that plays into who it is that sits in the temple. That plays into what is being said in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 as well. So a lot of these things do link up exactly with the modern day events. But if you go down, we're going to read, this is in the mission statement, and it's the remnant blessings. Let's read real quick we're going to start doing this every broadcast, real quick, what the remnant blessings are. This is not church replacement, kingdom now theology, dual covenant theology, Catholicism, 7-year dispensational John Nelson Darbyism, Hebrew rootism, these are the things that it's not again, or 6-pointed star, physical Jewish supremacy theology. No, we are a remnant of Israel, born again, Israel, in brackets, spiritual Jews, Romans 2:28-29, open to any and all races. That seed for your eternal inheritance as stated in Genesis 12:3. Also, that seed was, is, and shall be forever Christ. Nobody owns a remnant message. Nobody. It's your message too. Isn't it time to get into a position by placing our total faith, hope, trust, and confidence in the fact that Jesus Christ took that physical house of Israel, this is good stuff, and it was supernaturally born again at the cross of Christ as spiritual Israel. Very simple. Very straightforward, very simple. In accordance with Genesis 12:3, you will be supernaturally chosen, blessed, and favored. It's time to get into that supernatural economy now. It is time to get into that supernatural economy now. We reiterate that. And you want to be, because we're going to go into a little bit of the breakdown of the 7 years, the final 7 years of Daniel 9:24-27. And you want to be the only people sealed in the tribulation for the 3.5 years. It's not 7 years. There is no 7 years applicable. None. That animal does not exist. It's only 3.5 years. Only 3.5 years. For a multiplicity of reasons. We'll go into that. But people don't get it. It's simple. The math is simple. But first, let's go into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Now we want to preface this by saying, probably the three go-to, even though the one says when at the last trump, go-to scriptures for the pre-tribulation, 7-year dispensational, John Darby-ish, rapture, cultism. The 3 most mishandled scriptures that they go to, not necessarily in this order, is Titus 2:13, 1 Corinthians 15:51-52, and 1 Thessalonians 4:15-17. They mishandle those scriptures all day long. The blessed hope is for all believers. It's not exclusively for your so-called special 501c3 incorporated flesh. It's not. It never was. It never was. It's for all believers. Time out. Oh man, it's been a long day. Let no man deceive you by any means. Time out. Should have some coffee. Should have some coffee ready, but make that after. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day, pay particular attention to this, please, shall not come except there come a falling away first. A falling away first. Now, you 7-year pre-trib dispensational rapture cultists, you cannot touch this, even though you love to quote it. But what you're not understanding is, you're part of the falling away. This is all a judgment on the church, on the woman who rides the beast. We were talking about that the other day. It's not hard to figure it out. It's not. Who's getting judged? Judgment begins in the house of the Lord. That's what the scripture says. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That man of sin is not capitalized. It's not a proper noun. The son of perdition, neither is it capitalized. And you know who was called the son of perdition? Judas. Judas. We're not saying that this is Judas, but we're saying that same qualification for that type of spirit runs parallel in line with what's being said here. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now this is where you really just go off the beam. You go off the road, you're out in left field, you're out to lunch, you're just out in the corn patch somewhere wandering around, because what you're not seeing in all of this is that, know ye not that ye are the temple of God? That you right now are the temple of God. That's where you do your worshiping in. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. As a called out assembly. Ecclesia, Matthew 16:18. Remember ye not that when I was with you I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth might be revealed in its time. The majority of people, this is a little thorny one right here, because the majority of people either think it's going to be the Holy Spirit or it's going to be one of the archangels in a martial role. Personally, I happen to believe that'll be one of the archangels in a martial role. So, stand by for that. That will play by, that one we're just going to have to play it by ear. But it's not going to be good, because all hell will be breaking loose. Revelation 9:11, the bottomless pit and all that. Abaddon and Apollyon and all of that. And then shall that wicked, now this is capitalized, but this pertains to the same nomenclature of the beast. It's the beast, the false prophet that worship the dragon, chapter 13 of Revelation. They are also thrown into the lake of fire first. Then Satan, the dragon, later gets thrown in himself. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. We talk about this all the time. Those who worship God must do so in spirit and in truth. This is along the same lines. Because they receive not the love of the truth. Go along, get along, strength in numbers. What do you think? How do you feel? What's your opinion? Well, we've decided, and all these other things, diminish the facts in order to retain your relationship. All of those things, that's the world system right there, of a religious aspect. Because we need to understand, the woman rides the beast. Rides the beast. The woman, with all her daughters. Can anybody say denominations? And we know you're going to say, well, we got Jesus, we got praise and worship, we got all these great things going on in our church. Well, you have to leave. You just have to leave. You want to be part of the 144,000. They are sealed, and they go through the tribulation, as you will too. We also remind you of Zechariah 13:8-9, that 2 parts will be cut off and die. The 3rd part will be brought through the fire, tried, tested as gold and silver. Zechariah 13:8-9. We talked about that a lot in the last broadcast. Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. If you're hearing this information right now, we're telling you the truth. What are you going to do now? Are you going to go along to get along? Are you going to conveniently forget that you heard this conversation? Because we've been talking about the same things for many years now. The message does not change. That great falling away is well entrenched in its own process. Right now. This is a good verse right here. 2 Thessalonians 2:13. But we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen. There's that word chosen. We don't choose God. God chooses us, or chooses us. That's what it's saying right here. To salvation, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. One more time. We do things on the fly here. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, I am trying, I used to have many years ago, thousands of videos, took them down and got too bloated. Got sick and tired of people that were making devil-motivated comments. There's a lot of devils out there. I don't have any time for them. It really does me, I don't like it when they go after some of the sheep, some of the fellow believers that have the faith. And when they go after them, there's tons of you guys out there that know your stuff and you can hold your own, but it still bothers me. And I will 86 their butts in a nanosecond. I'm going to turn the comments on. I was encouraged by a good friend, Shannon, to turn them on. We're going to see how that goes. Play it by ear. Go from there. All right. Let's see now. Now let's go over to Daniel 9:24-27. We'll give you a little bit of a lead in here right now. This is probably, myself, the most lightning rod proof text lightning rod of proof text that there is out there. This stuff right here. Daniel 9:24 to 27. It is the whole bridge that gets us from the Old Testament, from Malachi, to the New Testament. From the Old Covenant to the New Covenant. Because testament and covenant are completely synonymous words. They're one and the same. We're going to start off in 9:24. These are the things that Jesus Christ fulfilled. Now we have a total time period. When Daniel wrote these words, he was inspired, obviously, and it was 500-600 years before the time of Christ. So, when Christ arrived on the scene, he fulfilled succinctly to a T. Remember, he said, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, on the donkey, how many times if I wanted to gather you together as a mother hen gathers her chicks?" But you would not. It was all in fulfillment of what we're going to read right here. Lost my place 1 second. And, okay. We're talking about 70 weeks. It's called Daniel's 70 weeks prophecy. Each week is composed of 7 years total. So if you take 7 times 70, where did we hear that before? When Christ made the admonishment to forgive somebody 7 times 70. Because he wanted to forgive Jerusalem, which is the apple of his eye. That's why he said that. That ran in perfect chronological consonance, not only with what this is saying, this prophecy from Daniel, but also how many times should you believe, or should you forgive a fellow believer? Same thing, 7 times 70. 7 times 70 comes out to 490 years. Okay, now this is where, if you don't know what this is, it's really simple. When you get the figures in your head, there's 3 sets of figures. The one is or 3 increments of time frames. You have a 7 weeks of 7 years, which is 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, then you have 62. It's broken down to, we're going to get to these, I'm just giving you the brief overview. You have the second period of 62 weeks, which 7 times 62 is 434. So you add the 49 to the 434, and you arrive at the perfect numeration of 483. So you add 7 to that, it brings you up to a full 490 years. Okay, 7 times 70 is 490, in this case, years. Okay, now we're going to go into it. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people in thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity. Now this is already prophesied and already accomplished. So you 7-year dispensational pre-trib rapture cultists, you can't go against what this is saying. It's a done deal. It was a done deal. It was Jesus Christ who accomplished it. And Jesus Christ will remain the main character throughout these brief paragraphs from 9:24 to 27. So you can't just pop out and say, well, we got a physical antichrist out of that equation. No, you didn't. And you don't have your 7 years. Here we go again. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people in thy holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. It was Jesus Christ. We're setting the tone and the tenor of establishing the fact that it was Jesus Christ who did all that, who did all this. Not your stupid Antichrist. 9:25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince, here we go, with the different increments of time, shall be 7 weeks. So again, you take 7 weeks times 7, and it comes out to 49. 7 times 7 is 49. Hold on. I don't know why I got a real dry mouth right now. It's probably from all that working out I did today. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Let's go through it again one more time. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem. That's found in Ezra and Nehemiah as well. Unto, one more time. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks. 7 times 7 is 49. That's the first increment. Okay? Please write this down on a piece of paper or something. Please. And 62 weeks. A score is 20, so 62 weeks is 62. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. So these 2 paragraphs have already established the 7 times 7 is 49, and the 7 times 62 is 434, which come out to be 483 total so far, because we still have the last week to go into. We'll get there in a second. Like right now. This is 9:26. Here it is. This is the slam dunk, smoking gun, smoking gun that puts your dispensational, it crashes and burns. Your 7-year dispensational Antichrist doing all these things in the 7-year time span. And after 3 score and 2 weeks, because again, we already have the 7 times 7 is 49. We already have the 62 weeks. Times 7 is 434. Both of those added up are 483, which means that there's only 1 week left, because from 483, you add 7 and you get 490. Does everybody see that math? Why? Because 926 again says, and after. It's that one word, after. After. Because we're already into the last week, the first half of the last week. And after. Does everybody see that? And after 3 score and 2 weeks shall, here we go, Messiah be cut up, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, metaphorical flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. What? Let's read that one again. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. Yeah, it was a slaughter. Flavius Josephus, the great historian, chronicler of that day, put the figure up around 1 million of people slaughtered in Jerusalem. It was bad. Now, who was it that the Lord kicked out of the Sanhedrin to validate this prophecy? It was Jesus Christ. In Matthew chapter 23, verse 38, he said to the Sanhedrin, the scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees, he said, your house is left unto you desolate. Now, if yours truly, haven't known this stuff for years, if yours truly would have been in attendance, I would have said, excuse me, Rabbi, excuse me, please. And then I would have quoted that verse right there. This is that right there. Between 924, between 924, 925, 926, and 927 are the most, when it comes to prophecy, those 4. They have no equal. They have absolutely no equal. The most profound prophecy in the whole Bible is right there, what we're reading you right now. So it was Jesus Christ who gave them, Jesus Christ, you know, it's like many tekel farson, numbered, weight divided. Daniel 5:25. Jesus Christ wrote the language on the wall for them, but they didn't pick up on it. They didn't pick up on it. He said, when he said in Matthew 23:38, your house is left unto you desolate. People, why can't we see that? Because it runs completely contrary. You pre-trib 7-year dispensational rapture people do not have 7 years. It was not only that, it gets worse for you, more egregious. Because this goes into 2 Thessalonians. Because you'd rather believe, you've been the strong delusion, you'd rather believe a lie. Because you're saying, no, it wasn't Jesus Christ who confirmed that covenant, it will be the Antichrist. Say what? You've already given away your birthright. If this were a courtroom, the judge would say, case dismissed. You have no rights to stand on. You gave away your rights. But that's what you done. That's exactly what you done. And you just don't get it. Because your dopamine is swimming around in your brain housing group, and you think you're going to be out of here any second, in paradise and all this sort of thing. But see, that applies to, like we said before, about Titus 2:13. It applies to all the believers who have ever lived, thinking about, hoping on the appearance of the blessed hope. Here we go. This is the clincher where you people go wrong. And you don't retract from it, you don't back away, you don't reconsider, no, come let us reason together. Oh, no. You'd rather listen to your TV preachers, your multimillionaire TV preachers, like Creflo Dollar riding around in a couple of nice brand new Rolls Royces, or what's that other guy's name? Kenneth Copeland, living on his luxurious mini island or whatever it is, his boat ramp, his plane. He's got like a mini airport there, rides around in a whole slew of black, presidential looking limousines. Go listen to them guys. See where they take you. And this is again 927, and he shall confirm the covenant, because we're still talking about Jesus Christ. These 4 paragraphs, Jesus Christ, baked in the cake, incontrovertible. You can't get around it. You can't get away from it. It's obvious. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Now we'll get into the breakdown of the 3.5 years, or actually the 7 years. And in the midst of the week, 7 years, 1 week divided by half is 3.5 years. He shall cause the sacrificing oblation to cease, which he did at the culmination of his ministry. And let's go through it again. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice, that was Jesus Christ, and the oblation to cease. Yeah, with his own death, you think maybe. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. Now, if Christ told the Sanhedrin of what their house meant to him, in other words, Christ's last parting shots, last parting message to the Sanhedrin was, your house is left unto you desolate. Do you know what that means? Because it reinforces it right here. To cease, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. It was Jesus Christ who did that. It will not be your coveted, fleshly inspired, physical Antichrist. What is wrong with you people? He shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Wow. And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Do we know what that means? That is not what you call a harbinger of good news. And he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So what that means is, all of these so-called chosen people will fall under that requirement that Daniel wrote about. They will become part and parcel and be subject to what's being said right here. That is scary stuff. Now, the biggest Christian Zionist probably in the world, he preaches right down the street here, John Hagee. What do you think are going to happen to his adherents, all his proselytes? They're going to run for the hills, helter-skelter, walking around like zombies. They won't know what hit them because it wasn't supposed to go that way. That's not what John Hagee told me, that we were going to be out of here and that they're the chosen people. It was Jesus Christ who confirmed that covenant. For you to say anything else other than the fact that it was Jesus Christ who confirmed that covenant, you are anti in place of or diminishing the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross. When he said, it is finished, it was finished. You people have no idea what you're doing, but you just keep doing it. And that's why it talks about, final thought, that's why it talks about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, about the great falling away. Do you people understand the gravity of what's being said here? Is there any reason why you can't at least try? Well, first of all, come out of her. Revelation 18:4, be ye not partakers of her sins nor receive of her plagues, number one. Get yourself in a position to be supernaturally chosen, blessed, and favored. Cry out to God. Cry out to God to get the sealing, to put the sealing on you. Because those are the only people that are going through the tribulation. You're going through the tribulation. Christ only comes back once, one second time. We've said this ad nauseum amount of times. I mean, it's just so many times you can't even count. He comes back right before Armageddon. Armageddon is 16:16. He comes back right before 16:15. At 16:15, right before Armageddon. Again, Armageddon is 16:16. You people have no idea what you're doing. And you're going along to get along, groupthink, consensus, we've decided. And you diminish the facts in order to retain your relationship. Don't know what else to say. The amount of gravity in this situation is tremendous. Now, you know the injunction, the admonishment. To whom much is given, much is required. If you've heard this and you understand it, then you've been given much. Not only do you need to come out of your stuff, break off those relationships, get out there in the wilderness, but you're also going to have to tell others. Or you're going to be like the Tim Hendersons, Chelsea Baydells, or Chad Thomases out there, and there's a plethora of people. I just want to encourage you. If Christ is going to come back, the lightning rod days, we mentioned this yesterday, would have been between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But it didn't happen. And when you see what happens on November 5th, you better be praying hard. You know, Hollywood has this prescient moment where they advertise what's going to happen. And it's what you call predictive programming. Well, they already did that with that movie, Civil War. God forbid it happens. If it does, it will not surprise anybody in our camp. It'll be the Great Reset. It will not be good. And try to do things for your family, please. Get a little stocked up, get things that you need. You know, try to be a good provider and all that. We need to. Okay? If you're remnant out there, stay remnant, keep your uniform on. We know it's tough, and most people don't want to hear the message, but this is good training exercise, because when the stuff does go down, it's going to be hell on earth. And if you're part of that 144,000, which I know a few of you out there are, then you're going to be greatly needed. You won't have to find anybody. They will be looking for you. Because you'll be a virgin in the sense of the doctrine, like it says. You'll be singing the song of Moses on Mount Zion with the Lord, which is a huge metaphor, which is a song of victory. You'll be in the Spirit like never before. You'll have joy of the Lord like you won't even be able to believe. And it's just right around the corner. The few of us, we feel it's just right around the corner. Let's get people prepared, please, because they're not going to be sealed. If they don't prepare, they're not going to be sealed. Not only does Zechariah 13:8-9 back that up, but also Revelation. Same. They will not be prepared. The rider of the fourth horse, the pale horse going forth with death and hell. There's your death and hell right there. And they're both capitalized, proper nouns, which is very, very chilling. So we need to get right with God. Just do it. Between you and God, you want to be part of that family. The great falling away has already occurred. It's been going on for hundreds of years. We're just at the end of it right now. The biggest problem is, real quick, Revelation 3:15 talks about Laodicea, and also that the Lord says, I would that you were cold or hot, but since you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of his mouth. Things nowadays, that whole dialectic process has been regurgitated, and the new watered down thesis then becomes the regurgitated next, even more watered down thesis. Truth has dried up in the land. Long story short, that's the problem we have. But it says that the 144,000 are all virgins, and they have no guile in their mouth. In other words, they pertain to the right doctrine, and they don't deceive anybody. Now, you may hate them. A lot of people hate me, have hated me over many years now. Okay? That's just the way it is. You're going to see families turn against each other, just go off on each other, be at wit's end. People walking around like zombies. People banging on the doors of Chelsea Bagdell or Tim Henderson or Chad Thomas wanting to know why they're still here. You're going to have, this is the most chilling thing, you're going to have a lot of people that will be on the precipice of losing their faith. Because their preachers told them it was going to be soon. Soon, the mantra of soon. Soon. And it's going on right now. Because each time that they say soon, they're doubting the Lord will come back. It's not the fact that the Lord is not coming back, but when they have to entice or cajole or innuendo that the Lord is coming back, they shouldn't be doing that, for number one. They got no rhyme or reason to be doing that, but they do it. They get watched the most. They tickle the most ears. Anyway, those are some of the logistics. Pray about them, please. We'll talk about them again. We'll still keep doing the videos, and hopefully a few people out there will get a hold of them. We'll try to open up the comments. Thank you again, Shannon, for mentioning that. And we'll get the job done. We're getting the job done. In the name of the Lord, Jesus Christ. Revelation, final thought, Revelation 19:10. The Spirit, the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. Is the spirit of prophecy. That's the testimony and the testament that we need to keep with us. We need to be part of that born again Israel spiritual identity, family of believers. God will honor you if you're sincere and contrite. And you'll be part of the 144,000 too. But otherwise, you're that woman who rides the beast. Go read about her. Gets destroyed. Behold, I said as a queen, and know she not that your destruction is going to come in one day, death, mourning, and disfavor, words to that effect. But people don't see it. So anyway, love you guys. We'll talk soon.